Good morning, students. So, today we are going to learn about the chapter that is reproduction in plants. So, the subtopic we're discussing today is the modes of reproduction. Okay, moving forward, first we'll talk about what is reproduction, then we'll be talking about the parts of plants that are involved in reproduction, and then the modes of reproduction, the types of vegetative reproduction, and after that I'll be providing you with some quizzes to check how much you have learned. Okay, moving towards the word reproduction. Basically, reproduction has arrived from two words. When we break these two words, that is re and production. So production is basically producing young ones or producing new ones when new substance is formed. Okay, now in case of plants or in case of animals, reproduction is basically a process where young ones are produced. For example, in humans, when humans give young birth to their young ones, that are their babies, that process is known as reproduction. And again, some more example, like I love puppies. Okay, so puppies are the babies of dogs. So reproduction is producing babies. So dogs are producing what? Puppies, which are genetically similar to them. Genetically similar means that they have the same gene which the dog has. Okay, this means that a human being will produce a human baby, a dog will produce a dog puppy, basically because of the gene. Okay, am I clear with this word reproduction? Now, reproduction is categorized into two parts, that is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So moving towards the differences, we'll be moving in the next slide. So modes of reproduction is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In plants, basically, asexual reproduction is when seeds are not formed. Okay, like in strawberries, onion, we do not see seeds over there because they produce through asexual reproduction. Now, how do they do that? We'll be discussing it in the further slides. Now, the sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, new plants are formed with the help of seeds, or basically you can see seeds over them. Okay, like mango, oranges, papaya all come under the sexual reproduction. Now the basic difference between asexual and sexual reproduction is the number of parents involved. Like the word asexual means asexual, a means one. Okay, so asexual reproduction consists or there's an involvement of only one parent, while in sexual reproduction there is involvement of two parents. Okay, now in the second point, what it is saying is that gametes are not produced. That means gametes are basically the sex cells which help in reproduction. So because there is only one parent, so there is no need of gametes over here. While in the case of sexual reproduction, we can see gamete formation. That is, sex cells are produced. Like for example, in humans, there are two types of sex cell. That is one is male sex cell, that is also known as sperm, while the other one is the female sex cell, that is also known as ova. Clear? So these two are produced here. Now, because in asexual reproduction there is no production of gametes or sex cells, so there is no fertilization or neither no zygote formation will happen. Now, fertilization is basically the fusion of male gamete or the male sex cell and the female sex cell. So, this fusion together is the process known as fertilization. When they both fuse together, they form a zygote. Because there is no involvement of gametes over here, so there is no fertilization and no zygote formation. While in the case of sexual reproduction, we can see that there is formation of sex cells. So these sex cells will fuse, and after fusing together, they will form zygote. The fourth point expresses here is that meiosis does not occur. Now, what is meiosis? Meiosis is basically the process or the division of cells. So, there is no division of cells, whereas in the sexual reproduction, we can see the division of cells. Now, the parts of plants that are involved in reproduction are the categorized into two parts, that is the reproductive part and the vegetative part. Reproductive part consists of only the flower, okay, and the vegetative part consists of leaf, fruit, stem and root. Now vegetative parts are basically those parts which are not involved in the sexual reproduction, while the reproductive part is involved in the sexual reproduction, okay. So we'll just talk about vegetative reproduction in this slide. So it can be done with the help of different methods. The first one is cutting, the other one is budding, fragmentation and spore formation. Moving towards the cutting, we'll discuss it in detail. Now, what is cutting? Basically, I went to my friend's home. I liked a rose plant over there, but when I asked her, please give me that, she said no. But I wanted to grow it in my home. So I went to my mother and she told me that you can cut the stem of that plant and bring it home. I'll grow that plant for you. I was a little bit confused how my mom will do that. But then she did these steps over here. What she did is you just need to cut, you just have a healthy plant over here, you just need to cut the stem of it with the help of scissors or blades, whatever you can use, and you need to cut it like lateral, okay. And after that you can prepare a pot with soil, manure or fertilizers in it, and you need to put that plant into it and cover it with plastic. Now water it every day and monitor that the plant that you have sowed in the pot will bring out some roots over there and new plant of rose would be formed, and this is what made me very happy. So basically process of cutting of rose is discussed in this video. You can watch this video in later part. Cutting of plant happens. Now the second thing or the second process we are discussing is the budding in yeast. Now the name suggests budding means bud. So this is a parent body. So in parent body we can see a small outgrowth over there. This small outgrowth is basically the bud. Okay, now these buds grow and form chains. This is how one parent yeast converted into lot of yeast. Now, what is the need of yeast? Yeast is put into my favorite dish, that is dosa. It is also put in cakes, etc., or the bakery products. Basically it is done to make it fluffy, and the reason it becomes fluffy is because yeast when reproduces they bring out or they release out carbon dioxide, and due to the release of carbon dioxide they become fluffy, okay. Okay, now this is the video which expresses or explains about budding in yeast. Now here you can see that only one yeast was present. Now it is forming a lot of colonies over here. So this is what budding in yeast. Now we move to fragmentation. Now fragmentation happens in starfish as well as in Spirogyra. Spirogyra is basically a algae. Now, the name suggests fragmentation. Fragmentation means fragments. Fragments basically mean tukde. Now the parent body divides into pieces or tukde. Now these pieces will grow into the other organism. Like the first part over here we saw, it has grown into the new parent, and the other, that broken part, is grown into the new parent. So with help of one parent we have got two daughter cells over here, and they'll also multiply and do the same thing. It is the same case with Spirogyra here. And one more thing, when the bodies are divided, the nucleus also divides with them, because nucleus is basically a genetic material and everyone needs it, है ना? So in this process nucleus also divides. Now, what is spore formation? Spore formation is basically the formation of spores. Now, in rhizopus what happens is it produces lots of spore, but it do not produce or but it did not throw out those spores at same time. What it does, it collects the spores, or a lot of spores are formed, and when the sporangium, like this is a circular part, and this is known as sporangium, in which lot of spores are formed, and when it is the favorable condition, this sporangium bursts, and the spores spread out in different directions. Videos. Now, these are some of the worksheets which you will do to analyze how much you have learned in today's class. So I concluded with that in today's class what we did discussed is what we basically discussed what is reproduction. We discussed about the parts of plants that are involved in reproduction, and we discussed about the asexual reproduction, basically the parts of vegetative parts which are involved in reproduction. So this was all about today's class. Thank you so much for being such a kind audience.